This is animation tutorial level 2, and we're going to be knocking a bouncing ball down some stairs and into a hoop. I'm going to show you the scene and the items that we're going to be animating. The key item that we're animating is this ball here, which is going to be rolling over here. It's going to bounce down these steps and land in this hoop. We've got this, which I have no idea what you'd call this. It's some kind of paddle that is going to swing and hit the ball to get it moving. We have the stairs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps. And we have the hoop. So that is our scene. Right, so I'm just going to dive straight into this, and we're going to begin with the paddle. So what I want is for this paddle to swing and hit that ball. So I'm going to start by moving the paddle up there, but it's going to have a life of its own. It's going to be like a pinball machine where something is controlling it. So let me begin by just figuring out what I'm going to be, let me just figure out which bits of the graph editor I'm going to be using first by moving this around. So I know that my paddle is going to be doing that action. And if I look at the channel box over at the top right, I can see rotate Z is all that's being used. So I won't be hitting the S key. I'll be right clicking on rotate Z and clicking key selected, again to keep my graph editor nice and clean with only one attribute in it. I'm going to keep the graph editor open while I do this, just so I can see my motion curve getting drawn out as I animate this. I'm going to shrink down the timeline a bit so that I can see things a bit more clearly. No one likes to animate with a timeline that's all zoomed out like this, because all your animation ends up being in this little bottom left corner here, and then you have this massive timeline. 1, 2. Alright, here's the first little principle of animation for you, anticipation. We know that we're moving up here, so for the first 2 frames we're actually going to move this way. And I'm going to go over a lot of anticipation here, so I'm going to just nudge it forward a little bit first, and then a little bit more, probably to about there. Let me just get my graph editor so I can see what I've done. Right, I'm going to nudge that down a bit. And I'm looking for that slow in. So a little bit first, a little bit of spacing here first, followed by a lot of spacing, followed by a touch at the end, like that. There we are. And we've gone in the wrong direction, we've gone in the opposite direction just to create that first bit of anticipation, as if this has a bit of a life of its own. So you can see it's gone that way, and then we're going to nudge this way now. That's quite a big move to begin with when you look at the spacing here, so I'm just going to slow out. I'm going to slow out of here, probably a bit much. Move the graph editor so I've got plenty of room. I'm going to move quite a lot. And it's best for me to be looking at my paddle, the thing that I'm actually animating, and not at the graph editor too much. Swing up there. I think I'll get to there. Let it linger. Slows in a bit. And then a lot. Big swing. And then this bit, the bit where it connects. Bang. Get to about there, and then it'll slow down. Slow it down like that. Right, let me just have a look at what I've done so far. Okay, so I've slowed down there, I've gone in, let's have a look at this. It's gone back, slowed down, come in, flown forward. Right, look at the spacing here. It's sped up a bit here, it's increased its speed here, but then it's randomly slowed down here. And I don't think there's any reason for it to randomly slow down. I mean, it has just hit the ball, so actually yes, let's say that it has slowed down a bit there. And when it hits the ball, that's going to cause quite a lot of slowdown. So we'll actually allow that to happen. And then to there. Right, okay, great. Let me actually see how it looks in the playback. Bump. Yeah, I don't like it so much. I want to hit that harder than that. Let's go from here straight to the ball. Smack. I'm going to delete these. and then we'll follow through with similar force, and then we'll slow out, slow down. Okay, great. Let me play that back and see how that looks. Bang. Yeah, I like that better. It's got a bit more force to it. Bump. Right. Now what we're going to do with the paddle is animate the follow-through. So the main action's been done now. We've anticipated forward. We've gone all the way back now, which is a form of anticipation in itself, really. Anticipated forward, anticipate back, and then swung. And that's the action there, the swing forward. So swung into it and hit the ball. Now we're going to do the follow-through. So let's have a look. It slows down, slows back in again, increases speed a little bit more, increases speed a lot, keeps going up here, starts to slow down now, slows in, edges back down again, and we're basically going to go for a pendulum effect where it slowly just loses all its energy and comes to a stop. Slows down again. I'm going to look at the graph other just to see the effect. So it's swung back, swung in, swung out. And you can see how it's slowly getting smaller and smaller. That spiral as it runs out of energy. Slows back in. Ran out of space here. There's a bit more space. There we go. And so we get to there. Slow out a bit more. And then just back in. Slows out there. And back in again. Where is 0? What does 0 look like? 0 is there, okay. Let me zoom in a bit on this end so I can see. I'll probably slow out there as well. Just a little bit. Slow back in. And I think I'll just take it to 0 at this point. It's rough, probably won't be perfect, but let's have a look. So bump, and then... Yeah, it's not bad, is it? It's not bad. Nice little bit of pendulum effect. Okay, great. Let's just have a closer look at the splines and see what I've done. So you can see here I've slowed in, increased speed, slowed down randomly here. So I think I'll speed up so that it's at least going to match this, because there's no reason for it to have slowed down. Slows down a lot there, but that's fine because we've almost come to a stop. Slowed down. And then this bit here is when it's falling back in again, so it's fallen back in there. Speeds up quite drastically there, so I think I'll chill that down a bit. It's faster, really fast, slows down. Forward. Really fast, slows down, slows out. Back down. I think I'll just chill that out a bit and chill that out a bit as well. And you see the general idea here is that we're going from small moves into really big moves, back down to small moves, and then into really big moves, and then back down to small moves. Check this out. It seems to have come to a complete stop here without any real proper slowdown. So I'm going to add another, whoops, press the wrong button there. I'm going to come over here, right click and hit key selected and just add a frame. And I'm just going to slow that in. There we go, just so it settles in. I'm going to let that slow out a bit more reasonably as well. Put that back there. Hopefully that'll look okay. In general, I think that looks fine. How does it actually look? Because remember, the graph that are looking good does not necessarily mean the animation looks good. It seems to about there. It looks like it's got a bit more force than it should have. That tells me that on here I'm not, yeah, so you can see it here at this point here it's at its highest peak, and then it comes down and slows right down here, but then here it doesn't seem to slow down anywhere near as much, and it really ought to if it's going to look right. So let me just slow this right down and that will hopefully help. Just increase this a bit. Yeah, so it's really decreasing a lot now, and I think what that'll mean is that I ought to try and slow that right down as well. Because it's basically not slowing down quick enough. I wonder how that looks. I think that looks a lot better. It's not perfect. There is obviously a way to mathematically work this out. And you have to ask yourself as well, will it do? Does it need to be perfect, or does it look just fine? If it looks just fine, it doesn't matter if it's not physically perfect. As long as the audience don't look at it and think, yeah, that moved a bit weird, then your job's done. Right, I'm going to spline this. So last time we splined, we clicked and highlighted and selected this. We right-clicked, we went to tangents, and we clicked on auto spline. This time we'll do it differently. This time we're going to drag a box over the graph editor by left-clicking and dragging. And then up here, where the spline is, we're going to click on auto tangent. And now we're going to get rid of any of these niggly little bits that are, they're making our beautiful spline curve a little bit on the bumpy side. Let's just get rid of them. Over here, not quite perfect here. And it's just a case of vetting your curves, having a look through them, getting them nice. And let's have a look at the final result of the paddle. Yeah, so you remember with the bouncing ball, we would count from here. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it took 12 to get to there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 to get to there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 to get to there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here's the problem really, is that we've done 8 here and we probably should have done 6. Get rid of that. 1, 2, and I'm going to hold W, not hold it, press W, hold Shift, middle click, and drag that way. And I'm going to move this up so it's a bit more of a slow end to this move. 1, 2, okay, so from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I just want this one to be 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But instead I've got this extra one that I don't need. So hold Shift, drag it along. It can be very difficult to slow this out when I've only got 4. So instead I'm just going to have to make sure that it doesn't. I think what I need to do is take this up a bit to there. So that it goes in. And then this one, 1, 2. This one literally just wants to be single. Move this over here. And take that down a notch so that it just settles in. Right, so let me just have a look at this. Dumph. Okay, it's not bad. There's a slight problem at the end, but I'm not going to dissect it now. I'm going to just let this lie for a while. I'm going to let it sit, and I'll come back to it after I've animated the other things. When you look at animation for too long, when you're staring at it and you're watching it play back again and again and again, your eyes and your brain get incredibly used to it, and it starts playing tricks on you and making you think it looks a lot better than it is. If you leave it and come back in half an hour, 45 minutes, and watch it again, you'll suddenly see the real deal, and you'll be able to, your critical eye will be a lot more switched on, and you'll be able to see it for what it is, and you'll be able to see the fixes. Right, so I'm going to end that tutorial there. We've animated the paddle, and we're going to make a fix to it a bit later on. Next tutorial, we'll be animating the ball.